All right. And we are live. Hello, you guys. Welcome. Let me just checking settings really fast. Looks good. All right. All right. Audio looks good. Video looks good. Hey, y'all. Welcome, welcome. Go ahead and get started here in just 2 shakes. Already have a number of great questions coming in. Hello, Amy. Serene Goddess, Sweet Sloth, Spiritual. Welcome. Happy weekend. Happy almost October. Yes. My favorite time of year. It's almost spooky season. Happy fall, Danielle. All right. Let me just check something real fast. All right. I think we are good. Let's go ahead and jump on in. We'll have people joining us as we go along. This thing keeps popping up. What are you? No bother. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Hey, you guys, thank you so much again for being here to another live Q&As. We do this every Sunday. We hang out, we discuss all things manifestation, law of assumption, because as always, I want to help you have as much understanding and clarity as possible so that you can take these teachings and apply them to your life and your desires. Not really a whole hell of a lot as far as announcements go. I've got a ton of resources down in the description if you are interested in working together or any of my masterclasses or workshops, all that fun stuff. And I think that's it. Oh, new vid. I'm so sorry. I know it has been a while since I've released a video. That is coming. That will be released on Tuesday. I'll go ahead and also make a community post ahead of time as a reminder. Appreciate your patience. It has been a busy last couple of weeks. And with that said, I think that's everything. Yeah, that's everything. Let's go ahead and jump on in. You are early. Welcome, Sky. Oh my gosh, 3:40 a.m. That is dedication. I'm glad to have you here. Amy, you've got a really good question. Hi, Missy. Whenever I don't like something about others, I revise it into the way I like. But there would be a voice in my head saying, that's their own business. I have no right to interfere. Yeah, I know that's not true because everyone is myself pushed out, but my subconscious mind still sees them as people with free will and power and judge myself for trying to control them. What should I do? Good question, because I think this is something that a lot of I certainly struggled with this. The whole free will concept is a huge pill to swallow. We've been conditioned to think that way, and it's not always easy to do so. Number one, this is not at all about trying to control people. That's not what's going on here. This is not manipulation. This is not coercion. This is selecting a state. This is a selection of one of infinite realities to experience. So the only thing that we are changing, the only one we are changing is ourself, not somebody else. Now, as far as that little voice in the back of the mind that's going to try to, whisper those seeds of doubt, I mean, the best way to move forward with that, continue building faith. Continue building faith and trust in the law, that you are, in fact, the operant power, and that there are infinite versions of each person. And I know that that sounds incredibly sci-fi and kind of weird, but as we continue to witness and observe the law playing out in our day to day as we begin to really increase our belief in these teachings, that's going to naturally subside. It's going to naturally subside. So, I mean, just remembering that this is not about trying to control people. This is not about, putting hexes on other people or any crazy stuff like that. We don't do that here. Mm-mm. Australian time zone plus insomnia. Oh, let's see, a lot of amazing people here. Yay, some of my favorites are here. Serene Goddess. Hi, Missy. I opened the box of the past and applying revision. Oh, no, I just love how you worded that. I opened the box of the past. I love it, but it's so painful at times. Need a bit of encouragement that this work is worth it. Thank you so much. You are so welcome, and it is so worth it. It is. There is a reason that I go on and on and on about revision. If I had to point to one thing that I did on my journey that radically changed things, it would be revision. Big time. And it's something that Neville Goddard also emphasizes constantly in his books and his lectures. The first cause, or the first thing that we want to do, is revise. Right? We want to, because revision is forgiveness. Revision is repentance. So that way we're not continuing to keep ourselves in that feedback loop of the past, because, well, the past doesn't actually stay in the past. It's not real. As I see your comment right down below, the past does not stay in the past. The past will continue to confront us in the future, because when we're recalling memories and reacting to them, we're planting seeds. So revision is essentially uprooting unwanted seeds. It's uprooting the things that we no longer want to identify with and continue to see outpictured. Yeah. Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. I do revise every night. Good. Good. It's an excellent habit to get into, to revise nightly. Revise the day as we would have wanted to see it, as we would have wanted it to go. Can't go wrong with that. How to revise. So I've made a few videos on revision. I'm going to be coming out with more, of course, but if you type up in the search bar, Missy Renee revision, those should pop up. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them. They kind of break down instructions on how to apply it. There's different ways that we can apply revision. So all that info is there. Oh my goodness. There are some wild people that come in here sometimes. Sweet Sloth. Hi, Missy. I hope you have a great weekend. Sometimes I get the feeling that so much time has passed and I'm further away than closer to the manifestation. Will this feeling eventually pass? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. I know that conditioning to linear time is one of our biggest obstacles, or what feels like a huge obstacle to us. Like the more the time goes by, the further away or more difficult or less likely it seems. Yeah. Yeah. That is incredibly common. And yes, it does subside. Because as you deepen this practice, you're going to be reconditioning that idea of time, the construct of linear time. Like it's not real. It's it's made up. The only time that ever exists that we will ever experience is right now. this moment right now. Of course, is it going to feel easy to accept that at first? Maybe, maybe not. But as you deepen this practice, as you deepen your faith, that will become less and less of a feeling or a fear. Yeah. Yeah, because it's not true. You guys are so sweet. Hi, Missy. From all your experiences, did you ever manifest any conditions away you had for years, such as skin? How long did it take to show up in 3D, if so? Good question. I have actually, and I've made a video talking about, well, the topic being health, like manifesting better health. And I talk about, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder back in 2016 that affected my skin. I would get really like uh, really bad like blisters and hives when I got stressed. Like my skin, I would get like these bright red lesions. It was not pretty. It was not cute. Um, no, I grappled with that for years. How long did it take? Uh, I'm so bad with timelines. I want to say it was a couple months from the time that I set my intention to that. I want to say it was a couple months. But here's the thing, and why I really am hesitant to answer the question of how long is because that's going to look different for everyone. I know that it's something we naturally want to do. We want to like compare to other people or use other people's stories as a way to measure how long it might take us. But we really want to get out of that habit because it's going to be different for everyone. Like something that took me X amount of time, like months, could take you weeks or days. It's going to be different. But yeah, if you haven't seen that video, definitely make sure to check it out. Um, Time has seemed crazy unreal to me lately. I struggle to recall what year it is. Same, same. Where was my spot? Hi, Missy. What do you recommend for the I love you, but I don't want to be with you situation and hot and cold behavior? I decided to go no contact because I was suffering too much. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mariana. Yeah, those circumstances. Oh, those always suck. For the I love you, but I don't want to be with you. For any hot and cold circumstance, if we are dealing with an SP, it seems like it's up and down and back and forth. Um, what we have to remember first and foremost is that their behavior, that hot and cold, is a reflection of our own hot and cold behavior internally. It's essentially an outpicturing of our own double mindedness. So I know at first it might feel challenging to see that, but we have to remember that. And if we are observant, we can see it. We can really start to see why things are playing out the way that they are because it's based on how we are reacting and responding to the 3D. You know, as far as going no contact, I respect you doing that. I certainly had to do that myself on my journey. And I know it's not an easy decision to make because there's always naturally that fear that if we go no contact, that they're going to go away or that we're going to lose them. I certainly struggled with that as well. Uh, but you have to take care of yourself first and foremost. So I commend you for that. I know it's not easy. Um, but as far as like what to do going forward, really, this is now the practice of emphasis on maintaining as much of your focus on that end. And without the 3D interjections, without, you know, potential reactions from the 3D, now that you've got, you know, some ability to keep your peace right now, like I would make sure to just the practice is, where are you putting your focus? Where are you directing your attention? And especially in those windows before bed, waking up in the morning when we're in a naturally drowsy state or in meditation. But yeah, yeah, use this time to really hone in on you and how you want to feel. Where was this? Hi, Missy. Hope you and the kittens are well. We are doing good. I've got some new baby kittens. I got a new badge. What do you do when you feel defeated because of current 3D circumstances? Yeah, yeah. I mean, hands down, the most challenging aspect to all of this is our 3D. It's the 3D circumstances, and specifically our assumptions surrounding the 3D circumstances. That is where everybody struggles. Um, you are not alone. And I say, if you're currently feeling defeated, if you're feeling like you know got knocked down a peg or two, if you have to take some time to just focus on you right now, then do so. If you need to just take care of you, if you need to, whatever that looks like, and if that means like, you know, putting a pause on everything for a second, then do so. We don't want to try to like force ourselves to keep going out of like sheer willpower when we're exhausted and feeling defeated. I know, again, it might seem to go against the natural instinct, like we have to keep going, we have to keep going. But I say this all the time, we cannot compromise with our mental well-being. Can't do it. Um, so use this time to focus on you right now, and focus on feeling better. Focus on getting yourself to a place where if that means you process a bit, if you need to cry, if you need to let it out, if you need to be angry for a moment, then do so. If you need to just turn your attention to something else completely right now, then do so. You can always redirect your attention back here, go back to that state of the wish fulfilled once you are feeling a bit better and more encouraged. Yeah. Yeah. I know it goes without saying. We hear it all the time that the 3D circumstances don't matter, but it can feel very difficult to believe that. Nonetheless, I'm going to reinforce that the 3D circumstances do not ultimately matter in the grand scheme of things and what is possible to you. Hey, Missy, what is your take on manifesting people away? Is it okay to do this? Like intentionally affirming they don't exist or they're deleted and no one knows them? Huh. Well, so is it okay to manifest people out of your life? I mean, yeah. Naturally, I do not recommend wishing any ill will towards somebody. You don't want to open that bag. You don't want it. Um, but if there's somebody that you want no longer in your orbit, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I would imagine something along the lines of a conversation that you have with somebody, and you're hearing confirmation that this person moved away, or that they transferred somewhere else. They're no longer in the picture, basically. Yeah. I mean, everything exists, to be clear, but you don't have to continue to encounter things that you no longer want to encounter. I hope that makes sense. That's my spot. Hi, Missy. It's been a while. I hope all is well. I heard some people say you're wavering and something is wrong if you don't manifest within 3 days. Is that true? I mean, not what? No. If you don't manifest within 3 days, does that mean you're wavering? And not necessarily. I mean, we can always observe if we are in fact wavering. But even if that happens, that I mean that's okay. All of us are going to have moments where we might go back and forth a little bit. The 3 days thing, you know, manifesting in 3 days. A lot of people take that very literally. And to be clear, you can absolutely manifest something in 3 days or faster even. But when Neville was talking about 3 days, it was more referring to the symbolism behind the number three in the Bible is completion, right? So imagining for 3 days is imagining until it feels complete, until it feels done, until it feels like you're no longer missing this thing or desiring. So he didn't mean it in a literal 3 day sense. But yeah, that's an assumption, um, like, clearly. I mean, everything's an assumption, but just because it hasn't been 3 days does not mean that you're doing something wrong inherently. No. Like grammar diva. I'm looking forward to working together too. That's gonna be fun. I'm excited. Hi, Missy. Should we understand our dreams? I'm happy with my SP now, but in the past few days, I've been dreaming of him with third party because he was indecisive about me. It was an old belief I held, yet I no longer identify with it. Does that mean that I haven't fully eliminated my limiting belief or fear about not being chosen? Also wonder, how did you become more secure after your SP came back the second time? Good questions. So dreams, and I should probably make another video talking about dreams. Dreams are feedback. Similar to 3D circumstance, similar to our reactions. It's just giving us feedback into what may be dwelling or operating subconsciously. Now, to be clear, that doesn't inherently mean that, you know, you are still holding on to this belief. Is it something that you still resonate with it? Is it something that you are still feeling attached to? If the answer is no, then that answers that. But even if we do notice dreams that are not favorable, dreams that are not ideal, you can always revise them. Same as that we can revise a 3D circumstance or, you know, um, a memory. You can revise dreams, but I, it's just kind of giving you a window into what may be still there underneath the conscious surface that we may not be aware of. But if you're no longer resonating with that belief, if that doesn't feel true to you, then I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah. And what was your second part? How did you become more secure after your SP came back the second time? A lot of that was revision. A lot of that was I had I had so much insecurity. Oh man. I was deeply insecure. I was very limited in my beliefs. My self-confidence was pretty much non-existent. Yeah, a lot of trauma there. And revision played a huge role in uprooting that and reconditioning those beliefs. So a lot of those things stem from past experience, naturally. So as I began to imagine and experience that I was different, that in the past I was somebody who was more confident, somebody who felt more secure and trusting in relationships, I started to be that, like actually be that. Uh, so again, why I go on and on about revision, but I mean, regardless, you can also imagine, for example, a conversation or any kind of confirmation that you are that most confident version of you. Like you can hear other people in your mind tell you and confirm it. Uh, Basically, what would it be like as that most confident version of you? And flesh that out and walk in her shoes. Yeah, I hope that made sense. Hi, Missy. Can you offer one-on-one personal hypnosis and manifest together one-on-one with clients? I think a lot of us would benefit from it if it was in your services. Manifest together? Good questions. So the one-on-one hypnosis, yes, I am going to be offering that. Keep an eye out for that announcement. Um, and I'm not sure what you mean by manifest together. Um, yeah, I'm not entirely. If you don't mind elaborating a little bit on what that would entail to you, I'm always open to feedback, whatever people might uh, deem as helpful. Absolutely. But yes, I am going to be opening up services for one-on-one hypnosis. That isn't taking place yet, but I will be announcing when that does. Hi, Missy. What do you think of doing multiple different SAT scenes in one session, or is it better to stick to one? Thank you. Good question, Mari. I always, well, not always, but most of the time, I'm imagining different scenes in one session. But that's just me. Some people I've talked to people that prefer to have just kind of one focal point and they stick to that, and that's fine too. Basically, whatever comes most natural, whatever feels best for you. Yeah. Hi, Vivian. Well, still half asleep, I'm getting some insights, sometimes numbers. Is it a good sign? Numbers to play the lottery. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you're feeling moved, if you're feeling like, a strong pull to play these numbers, then absolutely. Yara, hi. Sign up for another email coaching. Oh, yay. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Yes, Angie, to all of that. Our inner world is our beliefs, inner dialogue, feelings, reactions, thoughts, everything that is taking place in your mind, everything, pictures, memories, all of it, all of it. Hey, Frank. I just got back to you this morning, by the way. Just a heads up. Missy, when manifesting a best version of SP, can we manifest a change in their behavior, the way they speak to us, exactly what to say? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, all of those things would naturally go with the best version of your person, right? hmm So when we imagine that very best version of SP, their behaviors would be different. Their, what they would say to you would be different. All of that would be different. Yeah. Let me see. Okay, this is super weird. I had amazing movement in my manifestations this past week, and now today it's like it totally backpedaled. Stay head fast. Stay steadfast. Don't get sidetracked by the 3D. Don't get sidetracked. I know it's easy, especially when it looks like things are imploding out here. It's easy to let our attention get sucked into what's going on out here. Don't do it. Don't do it. Revise it. If it feels difficult to look away, if it feels difficult to not keep your focus on it, then revise it. Revise it regardless. But yeah, one easy way that we get trapped is by like our drifting attention going to the 3D instead of keeping the eye on the prize. Yeah, this does happen. It could appear like things are going sideways. Don't accept it. Missy, did you also have the feeling that you didn't like any other guy except your SP? And even if you wanted to, nothing would come of it because you only had your SP and your. Yep. Yep. Trust. I tried. I tried to move on. I tried to date other people. I tried. When you know, you know. Much love from Portland. Awesome. Oh, I miss Portland. How can we actually change our self concept? Oh, you were sweet, Twig. Thank you. And good question. How do we actually change our self concept? So, that is the entire point of these teaching. Like, the objective to all of this, all the techniques, all of the uh, teachings, all of it is to change the self concept. So, all of the imaginal acts, the ways in which we imagine going to the end, that is for the express purpose of changing your self concept. The techniques are not to change the 3D, the techniques are to change you. Because when you change, the 3D will change on its own. Like that is the natural byproduct of the change that takes place within us. Yeah. Missy, I heard some coaches say we should skip taking smaller steps and just go straight to manifesting what we want. Just wondering what you think. I agree. Yeah. I mean, the aim ultimately is going to the end. Like we want to practice with going straight to the end. Now, it may be the case that it feels difficult because that is a huge leap to us. It feels like that's a huge leap from where we are currently. And because we are very linear thinking, that might feel like a huge disconnect. But we want to practice imagining boldly, like just being bold with it, because there is nothing that you cannot experience in imagination. That is your domain. That is where whatever you say goes. So if we are having difficulties there, that's something that we want to really learn how to practice with, getting creative with it. Yeah. Now, can we manifest in steps if we want to? I mean, yeah, we can. But I do always recommend if you're going to go that route, make sure that you are being very deliberate about going to the next step or the next end stage, whatever that is, whatever that looks like. Do not let yourself get caught up in the 3D, basically. But the practice really should be going to the end. Let me see. Um, where was my spot? Hi, Kelly. Hi, Missy. How can I live in the end that I have my dream job but still have to apply for jobs every day? Good question. Because we can imagine something and be somewhere different entirely. Like we have that ability. We can be somewhere different in imagination. Like you, because you are not restricted in imagination. So I know it's going to feel weird at first to imagine something that is so it contrasts with your 3D, but that is the practice here. That is the entire thing that we are learning to recondition, to not be so limited in here based on our 3D circumstances, because that's how we get stuck. So despite the fact that yes, in the 3D, it may be filling out job applications, going through the notions, whatever that might look like, but in here, you already have it. You are already in your office. You are already performing the function and roles of that job that you desire, because you can do that. It takes some getting used to, yes. But that's why we practice. My question is it only Sabbath if there's never any more reactions or invasive thoughts at all, no matter how short or infrequent, aka total detachment and indifference? Thank you so much for everything. Aw, you're welcome. So is it the Sabbath? When we are in the Sabbath, it's gonna, I don't know if indifference is the right word. Maybe. But it is going to feel very neutral. It is going to feel, as far as our desire is concerned, there's no longer going to be that sense of longing or wanting or hoping or anything like that. It's going to feel very satisfying. You're going to feel very like just calm about it. It is a sense of calm. It's a peace. Like you are no longer straining yourself over this situation or this circumstance. Um, Now, if we do have reactions, like we that may indicate that we fell out of the Sabbath. But if that happens, we can always redirect. Yeah. Let me see. Your office is the length of my street. Francesca. I think the camera makes it look bigger than it really is. I don't know. You're hilarious. Hi, Missy. How to deal with the fear that what we experience in 4D doesn't come to pass in 3D? How to be assured about our desires? Good question. It's the $1,000,000 question, because this is a very common fear that I would say virtually everybody experiences this at some point or another, um, especially if we are new to this, if we have not fully built up faith in this yet. Um, And really, that's how we deal with it. We want to make sure that we are building our faith, that we're building our trust. Ideally, we want to get to the place where we don't have any doubts that the law is real, that it works for everything, that it is not bias or that it's not partial. The law works and it works for everything. That is ideally the place that we want to get to. Now, do we have to have solid faith in order to manifest what we want? No, it's not required, but it's going to make things a hell of a lot easier for us. Yeah. So, I mean, at first, it comes with the understanding that this is a common fear. But as we continue to observe the law in effect in our everyday lives, like just naturally seeing how the outside world is the outpicturing of what we are internalizing, the more we see that, the stronger your faith is going to get naturally. And that's when a lot of these fears around, like, is it going to happen? What if it doesn't happen? That drastically subsides until it's not an issue anymore. Yeah. And that's why we want to continue to put this to the test, and we want to continue to build on that trust. Can't seem to stop my monkey brain throughout the day and find that I enjoy obsessing about it. Any advice? This is actually a topic that I have coming up in one of my future videos. I just finished filming it. Still got to edit it and whatnot. But yeah, a lot of times we are addicted to the negative things. Obviously not in like we want to overthink things. It's not that we enjoy it like per se, but there is almost that addiction that comes with overthinking and obsessing and mulling. That's very much a thing. I used to be the queen of that. Meditation. Meditate, daily meditation. And don't try to fight with those thoughts. Don't try to wrestle with those thoughts. That's going to keep you in a cycle. That's going to keep you locked in. The practice is observing it without engagement. Just that they're just thoughts. They're just thoughts. Now, if you catch yourself like, constantly fixated, we want to practice with redirection. We want to practice like focusing our attention somewhere else. But meditation was a game changer for me and my overthinking brain. Yeah. Missy, I revised your revision video on YouTube. I tend to listen to this, but wondered, can I just revise quickly without doing your revision video every night? Please advise. Absolutely. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to use my meditations or videos. You don't need, an aid or a guide necessarily. Um, no. Nope. Let me see. Oh, thank you, Yara. Happy Sunday on a Sunday afternoon. Thank you, Mohammed. I hope you're doing well as well. Hi, Missy. How would I go about healing someone with cognitive issue that a doctor would say is incurable and only gets worse? And should they continue taking any meds and go to the doctor? Oh, good question. So as far as impossible manifestations or things that doctors in this case would deem like incurable, regardless, I would continue to go to the end where you see your friend doing well and you hear the good news that your friend has been healed, that your friend is no longer um, struggling with this issue, whatever it might be. So I would continue to imagine and go to that state. Let them keep doing what they're doing. You don't need to impede in the 3D. You don't need to impede on any of that. All that we're doing here takes place in here. Yeah. And I know it may feel difficult to believe or accept at first. Go to that end anyways. Hi, Missy. I feel I've been dwelling mostly in the wish fulfilled internally. The 3D has reflected this in many areas, but not in my SP. Do you know why this is? Good question. So, if we are not, hmm, if we are ever wondering why things are showing up or not showing up in the 3D, we want to be paying close attention to our mental diet and really honing in on what we may be thinking and feeling and internalizing in the day to day in regards to what you are manifesting, what you desire. In this case, an SP. Pay close attention to the thoughts, the feelings that come up naturally in the day to day in regards to your SP. Like when you think about your person, the first what is the first reaction or instinct that comes up when your SP comes to mind? If that is not lining up with your desire, then you know why. Yeah. A lot of times, and then I noticed that, you know, I think I'm living in the end. I think I'm also why I go on and on about self-observation. If you are wanting to know why things are the way they are in 3D, pay close attention to what you are internalizing. Yeah, because it may surprise the hell out of you. It certainly did for me. Their behavior is our manifestation. Hmm. Hmm. Where was my spot? If someone was bullied at school and has had difficulty with all kinds of relationships, can revision really work effectively if you simply script it? Thanks. Also, hi, John. Good to see you, sir. Short answer is yes. Yes. Now, when you're scripting it, are you like letting yourself feel into it? Are you letting yourself really get lost in the feeling of it? Because I mean, it absolutely can. It absolutely like we can revise through scripting. That is absolutely a thing we can do. Um, but the most important thing is, like, once again, feeling. How does it feel? Like, are we able to genuinely capture what we are scripting? Does it resonate? Yeah. Feeling is the secret, as always. Where's my spot? Marie, hello. Happy Sunday, Missy. We know everyone is you push out, but how about what people feel and assume about me? Does that dictate the way I show up in their reality? Good question. So, what other people feel and assume, well, it's still your assumption. In your reality, there's only one observer. That is you. So, what other people are feeling and assuming, in our reality, it's still us perceiving it. So, I am assuming what other people are assuming and feeling about me, ultimately. Even if they've confirmed this, even if they've told me this, it's still in my reality through my observation. So if somebody has less than ideal assumptions about you, you can change that. And that will absolutely change the dynamic between the two of you. 100%. I hope that makes sense. But if I misunderstood something, let me know. Hi, Missy. How do you interpret someone in your reality getting into a bad accident? What is that showing you? Good question. Oof. I know these are where it gets really tricky, especially if we don't have solid faith, because why on earth would we ever manifest somebody getting into a bad accident? I mean, the short answer is we wouldn't deliberately or consciously. I hope don't do that. But if somebody is if something bad happens to somebody in your world, um, that could be a reflection. Like, if is there a general fear that you have or had, maybe not even with this person specifically, but I mean, it is always based on something, because we are ultimately the ones manifesting everything. So that could be something to meditate on. I'm not sure if this is something you are dealing with currently or if it's just a hypothetical, but either way, um, has this been something that you feared? Has this been something that maybe used to consume you in the past? I mean, again, a lot of the time, the vast majority of the time, actually, we're on autopilot, which means that we are very unaware of the things that we are entertaining, imagining, thinking about, consuming. Um, and this is something that I always stress, that we want to really begin to be deliberate and conscious with where our attention is going and just observing what is coming up for us. Because again, like, you're not going to deliberately imagine something like that happening, no. But yeah, see if there is any fears coming up for you. Like, if you perhaps had been even briefly entertaining something bad happening in general. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. I'm working on my affirmations and I feel like they are my go-to methods. Awesome. Awesome. Persist in that. Yes. Was- What advice can you give on self-discipline to put in the work for manifesting? Love your videos. And oh, I love you too, Lucy. You are sweet. What advice can you give on self-discipline? Good question. So, number one, we want to make sure that we are not trying to push ourselves too hard. Like, yes, we are creating a new routine. We are introducing something that is very new to us. And as humans, usually we're very resistant to new routines and new ideas and change of any kind. So that can feel tricky at first. But make sure that whatever you implement, that it does come most naturally to you. So there's a period where we can experiment a little bit with different kinds of techniques, different ways of imagining to see if there's certain ways that resonate more than others, some that come more naturally than others. Like, for example, some people are a lot more visual. They really have a good time seeing images in their mind's eye. Other people are more auditory. They hear things, so it's different for everyone. Some people love affirmations, and that's what gets them riled up and really into that state. So, find the ways of imagining that come most naturally to you. And then, given your routine or day-to-day schedule, like, start small and build consistently from that versus trying to set a like enormous task, what feels like a task. For example, if you're not used to meditating and you want to start a meditation practice, start with just 5 minutes a day instead of trying to commit to an hour a day. The latter is going to probably feel very challenging. It's going to feel like a chore. We might be averse to it. So yeah, those would just be my couple of tips. You know, bite-sized pieces every day that you can build on. Would you call yourself a witch? No, but my husband might. Sometimes it feels like delusion. Mhm. At first. Mhm. That's normal. Wait, I feel like I missed. Oh, hi, Missy. I'm in the process of getting my GX, and I realized repetition really does impress the subconscious. hmm Something I wish more creators clarified is that persistence isn't obsessing over your manifestation. Yes, I just made a video about that, like 2 or 3 videos ago. Um, Persistence isn't obsessing over your manifestation, but gently repeating whenever the thought comes up. Also, the subconscious can't tell the difference between fear based obsessive affirmations and natural ones you believe. Um, but every time the topic of my car has come up internally or externally, I always just repeat to myself that I already have it. And that has done so much for me, and I honestly feel certain about it. That is excellent, Fernando. I love that. I love that. And it's true. Repetition is key. Being consistent is key. But persistence is not obsession. That is not trying to like push and force yourself to the point of exhaustion. No, no. We can persist gently. We can persist lovingly. We can persist in a way that feels most natural and at ease for us. That's it. Yara's in here spitting truth. I love it. I love it. Could you tell us if you use robotic affirmations? What do you think? Good question. I myself personally, no, I do not. Now, if robotic affirmations work for you, if they are helpful for you, then by all means. Not going to crap on them because again, everyone is going to be different in what resonates, what works best, what is most helpful to them. But for myself personally, that was the least effective approach for me. For me. Self love and self care is the most important. Those are incredibly important. Yes. Yes. I am the biggest proponent for self care. That is a must. Oh, thank you, Sapity. Jackie, hello. Hi, Missy. Please share how you change your assumption in the area of abundance, especially given your childhood experiences. Good question. And I'm trying to remember if I made a video. Um, I don't know if I made a video about this specifically, but I'm pretty sure I have mentioned before. Um, one of my revision scenes, one of the things that I revised was my relationship with money and the root of that, which naturally stemmed from childhood. You know, the old story was growing up very impoverished, very broke. My parents were constantly stressed about money. My dad worked 7 days a week for years, and it was a struggle. So naturally, all of the limiting beliefs were very much my truth in my young adulthood. One of the revisions that I did, or one of the, it wasn't a revision of a memory that happened. It was a new memory. I constructed a new memory of myself as a child walking, like getting off from school and walking up my driveway to my house. And instead of the house that I grew up in, it was a beautiful, like not a mansion, not like a castle or anything, but it was a gorgeous house. And it was, one that you would have to have a good amount of money to live in. I saw my parents at the front steps waiting for me, and they were dressed really nice. They were dressed to the nines. And so I was also wearing a uniform, which implied that I was in private school. And all of these things were implications that we grew up abundant, that we grew up not impoverished. So that was one that really stuck out to me because that one, night and day, changed a lot of those old assumptions, like the limiting beliefs around you have to work really hard for money, money's so hard to come by, it always goes out faster than it comes in. All of those seem to just disintegrate from that revision scene alone. I also I've talked about in previous videos, just the feeling of abundance, the feeling of freedom, the feeling like going to the source, the root. Like money is the object of desire, right? That's what we perceive that we need to get in order to feel free, in order to feel abundant. Um, but I skipped that and just went to the state of abundance and what that would be like, what that would feel like for me. So those two things did a number on my old beliefs, my old, constrictions around finances. Yeah. Anything can change in an instant. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. is. I feel insecure because my SP has many female friends. I want to trust him, believe he'll never cheat, and feel secure in our relationship, but I still react when he interacts with them. Yeah, yeah. I can relate on a personal level. I struggled with a lot of similar what you're describing. Um, I had a lot of insecurities, especially myself compared to other women. Oof. I'm not sure what if you have a scene, if you like how you are imagining or what in what ways you're going to the end, but I would be making sure to focus on the feeling of security, the feeling of safety, the feeling of confidence, and really have that be sort of like the focal point. Whatever you are imagining, make sure that it is implying that your SP has eyes for you and only you, and that you know that to be true, that you are resonating with that deeply. And I know at first it may feel difficult to trust these imaginal acts. It may not at first we may not notice right away a difference in how we feel. This is why we persist. But I say it all the time. We hear it all the time. But if we are going off of the 3D, we are going to be stuck in a perpetual cycle. So the practice is coming within. It's turning within. It's turning your attention away from what's going on out here and constructing your own world in imagination. Occupy that state in your mind. Neville talks often about perpetual construction, but deferred occupancy. Like we construct all these places in our mind, these desires that we have. We fantasize about things, but we don't actually let ourselves experience it. Like actually be that person that you desire to be. Don't do that. Technically, the future can exist now in imagination. Mm-hmm. The future does exist now. Everything exists right now because now is the only moment there is. This is all there is right now. Hi, Missy. How to manage thoughts on my SB? There's a new person in his life that is currently just a friend, but I can't stop thinking about it becoming more and sorry, I can't stop thinking about it becoming more, and I'm afraid I'm creating that. Yeah. So I'd say that this is a pretty common scenario people find themselves like becoming fearful of our thoughts. Like, oh crap, I just had this thought. Now I'm going to create it. One line that always stuck with me from, I believe it was Joseph Murphy who said this, that the thinker is always more powerful than the thought. And something about that would always just bring me immense relief because it's true. The thoughts don't have power over you. The thoughts do not have veto or override power. Like as the thinker, as awareness, as consciousness, you are the infinite power. You are the operant power, not your thoughts. So anytime that you catch yourself with this fear coming in, you're having these thoughts about what might be, become aware of it, see it for what it is. It's just a thought, it's just a fear, and practice with redirecting your attention. If that moment it feels too difficult to go to the end or imagine something lovely, then you can always turn your attention to something else entirely, something that feels more enjoyable, something even just a distraction in that moment, if that helps. But always come back to that and remember the thinker is more powerful than the thought. We do not have to fear our thoughts. Ultimately, the thoughts are not the operant power. You are. Is it a good sign that I automatically find myself doing sats before my alarm clock goes off? That's good indication. Mhm. Yeah. Like, you're not even consciously thinking about it, or, like, you're just naturally finding yourself doing it? Yeah. Hi, Missy. While replaying the scene in sats, does relief wash over naturally, or we can insinuate while becoming grateful in the scene? Having a hard time with the relief aspect. Good question. Trying to make sure I understand. I mean, for myself, the relief is natural. Like, the reaction should feel natural. Just like if you like when we have encounters and circumstances in the 3D and we react to them, we respond to them. It's the same thing for sats. Like, we're not trying to force a reaction because well, that's going to feel difficult to do. Like, if something played out in the 3D, the natural response would be relief. You would just have that feeling come wash over you. Same thing applies for sats. Sarah, yes. I've been having breakthroughs with an exercise I'm using where I look at possibilities in terms of options and making peace, so to speak, with both options. It's helping me drop resistance. I love that. And like really being okay with both options, even the option of things staying the same. I go into and knowing that either way, I'm ultimately going to be fine. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's true. I mean, all are just hypothetical options. All are hypothetical. Hmm. Yeah, I love to hear that. You did a video on limiting beliefs. If one has limiting beliefs, does it override SATs? Mm-mm. No, and the point of SATs, the point of any technique, is to recondition that belief. It's to impress new belief, new assumption. When you manifest your SP, is it common that other ex-boyfriends make contact before SP makes reaches out to you? Yeah, it happens. Hmm. I'd say that's fairly common. Yeah. In this community, there's a term for it. It's called birds before land, where other people may show up in the way that you want your person to show up. Um, yeah, fairly common phenomenon. Revision is amazing, Yara. Yes. I love your guys' interactions with each other. This makes my heart so happy. How do inner conversations with our SP friends and family manifest? The same way that anything manifests. The inner conversations, you know, when we imagine something, especially if it resonates, you're selecting that state, you're selecting that reality, which must then become outpictured as far as the 3D is concerned. That goes for any technique, though, not just inner conversations, but you can think of it in terms of selecting a state, selecting that reality. Yeah. Oh, Kelly. Hi, Missy. All of my successes so far have been making a list, then set it and forget it, or just imagine a few times and drop it. Tips on how to do that with SP. So much easier said than done. Yeah, yeah. For things that we have a lot of attachment to, it's not always going to feel that simple. Um, Tips on how to do that with SP. I mean, well, so the point of these imaginal acts are to help us get to a place where we're no longer so attached to like desiring them, because it's going to feel instead like you already have it. You already are the person with this person, or whatever the circumstance is. It's to alleviate a lot of that, which is why detachment is the inevitable outcome. Like you get to a place where not detachment from the desire, but detachment from that wanting and hoping and longing and wishing, basically that separation. um so yeah, it is so much easier said than done, of course, but the same thing applies whether it's big or small or whatever. Like that's to the law, there is no big or small. I mean, that's all us. um yeah. Yeah. I mean, is it still feeling like there's a lot of like I need to do techniques to get this outcome? I'm just trying to clarify. I want to make sure that I'm not getting anything wrong. What is the difference between victim blaming and everyone is you pushed out? How much is our responsibility in how others treat us? Good question. And I know that this part can feel, again, a huge pill to swallow. The topic of everyone is you pushed out is always one that for most people we grapple with. It's first off, it doesn't come supernatural. Before we knew about the law, we've always believed strongly that other people are acting on their own volition. So this goes in the face of all of that. But as we continue to build our faith in the law, we will see that everyone is truly us pushed out, which means that other people are showing up in ways that we naturally assume or believe they're going to show up. Now, that could mean a specific person, like people that specifically show up in these ways, or just general beliefs. Like, for example, if I have a belief that people can't be trusted, men can't be trusted, they're just going to hurt me, or whatever, that's how people are going to show up. I hope that makes sense. But short answer, and this I know is probably not the easiest, it's all of our responsibility, all of it. Yeah. Because we can't make exceptions here. We can't say, oh, I manifest these things, but not these things. Yeah. Hi, Missy. How do you know the subconscious is successfully impressed? I don't tend to feel much lack around this particular manifestation, so how do I judge it's impressed? Good question. We know something has been impressed based on our reactions, based on the natural reactions, the natural thoughts that come up for us, like in regard to your aim, whatever that might be. So if something has been impressed, it's you're not going to be like thinking of it from a place of absence anymore. I hope that makes sense. The natural thoughts that come up are going to be lined up with that version of you who has it. I don't tend to feel much lack around this particular manifestation. Well, however, whatever the feeling around it should change if it's been impressed. Hi, Missy. Does being in a bad mood affect your manifestation? Solid question. I mean, not inherently. I mean, it depends. Like, if you're having a bad day in general, like, is that going to negatively affect your manifestation? Not on its own. Like, you can be irritated or annoyed or just having a bad day, but still very much solid in your end or solid in your knowing that something is done for you. It's like if we're noticing a lot of confliction or double mindedness in terms of what we desire, that's something that we want to observe and be mindful of. But just being in a bad mood in and of itself is not on its own going to affect something poorly. Like even people who are abundantly wealthy have bad days. Even people in loving committed relationships have bad days. It doesn't inherently mean that you're going to ruin your manifestation. No. Yes, Naya, definitely reach out to me again. My apologies for that. If you have not heard back, definitely, if you could resend it, that would be awesome. I am so sorry about that. And I'm going to be doing a lot of catch up on emails today. Can we manifest amazing chemistry with someone? Is chemistry with someone real or just a reflection of our thoughts? I, I mean, number one, yes, we can absolutely manifest amazing chemistry with someone without question. You can manifest anything, quite literally. Is chemistry with someone real or just a reflection of our thoughts? Well, define real. What do you mean by real? Because everything you're experiencing is just reflection of your internal world. I also get confused about whether to do robotic affirming or envisioning the end state and letting it go and trust. Oh, you are so welcome, Teresa. Um, I mean, again, it's whatever feels more natural and resonates with you. As long as it doesn't feel forced, as long as it doesn't feel like a chore and it's like causing more anxiety than good. Yeah. I mean, we will naturally get to a place where we let go and trust. Like with persistence, you have to reach the Sabbath. That seed will plant. So, like, what comes more naturally to you? I get confused about third party manifesting. Some say to ignore that they even exist, and some say to affirm them away. I know you say to acknowledge your feelings, but no, it's not the end. So, if we don't want, if we, do, in terms of third parties or anything that we, the focus needs to be on your end. Like everything else can like throw it to the wayside. Your attention is on the end. You do not need to give an iota of awareness to that person. You don't need to affirm them away. Like don't feed that into awareness. I know attachment is it's challenging. Where are the kitties? The kitties went up for adoption last week. They are in their wonderful homes. Yep. They won the jackpot, all three of them. But I've got a new litter. They're 3 weeks old. And I thought about bringing them on stream today, but they are loud. They are woof, woof. They're feisty little beans. So yeah. Perhaps next week, you guys can meet the new kitties. I love these interactions, you guys. You guys are so good to each other. Instant manifesting is possible. Yes. You can see change. Yeah. All right. I got time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. Just noticing the time. Boo. Can you do a video on set it and forget it versus living in the end state, since first one is law of attraction and second one is law of assumption? Um, Set it and forget. I guess that is a yeah, that would be a lot. Basically, set it and forget it means imagine it and drop it, and that is gonna probably come more naturally for things that are so-called smaller. For example, testing the law when we want to test things, like for the sake of building faith. We do what we don't want to do is continue to like look for these items or observe that we haven't seen them yet. Why have I not seen anything on this list? It's not working. It's not showing up. Like the more that we give that attention, we're just feeding into more fear, more doubt, more not seeing it. Um, Living in the end is, I mean, it's similar in that you there's no need to do anything else. Like you are already that person. You've selected that state. You are living in that state. You are occupying that state in here. But yeah, I'll make a video talking about that. I've been imagining my roommate to move for over a year, but I couldn't ignore his presence. Then I went away for 3 weeks, stopped thinking about it, and suddenly he moved out before I came back. JT, that's perfect. Perfect example. Mm-hmm. Yep. Once you dropped it, it happened. I feel great, and I love my imaginal scenes with SP. It feels so great and real, but I feel sometimes like I'm still doing it too much. And if I just drop it and let it come, it will. Trust that, Kelly. Trust that. Trust that. Amen, Alex. We should have absolutely been taught this in school. Mm-hmm. Hi, Francesca. Is it wrong to believe the law works for something and doesn't for other things? I mean, we don't want to make that assumption, no, because it's not true. And the last video that I released talks about how there are no exceptions in regard to the law when it comes to what is that there is no big or small or you can manifest this, you can't manifest that. That's all us. We're declaring that. We're deciding that to be so. Yeah. So I don't recommend holding that belief. Yeah. The law is impartial, completely impartial. Oh, David, good to see you, sir. Good to have you here. Seek out the dead. I love it. Even people with monkey mind can manifest. Yes. Yes. Anyone can. There is no exception. There's no exception. Doesn't matter. People tend to say you either have chemistry or you don't. So I wondered if it's really like that because I want to defy what these people say. Yeah, no, that's an assumption. Everything's an assumption. It's not objective truth. Yeah. But absolutely put it to the test. Prove it to yourself, as always. Ah, and on that note, unfortunately, I do need to get going. Long Sunday ahead, but thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for joining me today. If I did not get to your question, my sincerest apologies, but we do this every Sunday. So I do hope you come back and join. Take care of yourself. Much love. Let me know if you want kittens here next time. I'll bring the little guys out. Take care, guys. Much love. Oh, keep an eye out for that video Tuesday. Bye.